This is 95.3 Business Now.
Welcome back to Business Now. We'll head into our market review for yesterday. But before we get to that, let's get into our conversation. The IMF projects 3.3% growth for Nigeria in 2024 and asked the federal government to prioritize food insecurity immediately. So the International Monetary Fund has called for an urgent action to address food insecurity in Nigeria as the country's economic outlook remains challenging. The Bretton Woods Institution says Nigeria's growth at 3.3% this year, citing fuel and electricity subsidies as potential costs that could erode the gross domestic product by as much as 7 trillion naira. The IMF further recommends the implementation of the direct cash transfer program to mitigate fuel subsidy withdrawal effects while welcoming the central bank's monetary policy tightening program. So, joining me to discuss this latest IMF report on Nigeria is Paul Alaje, a policy analyst and senior economist at SPM Professionals. It's good to have you on the line this morning, sir.
Yeah, thank you so very much for having me.
All right, Mr. Alaje, what are the key points for you in the latest IMF Article 4 report on Nigeria?
Well, a number of things. First, IMF recognized that Nigeria's last growth was 2.8%, and this was a bit below the population dynamics. It also revealed that about 8% of the Nigerian population is facing acute shortage. As a result, government needs to do something very quickly about food supply, or what they call food security. IMF chief also mentioned, country chief also mentioned that there are some challenges that wait Nigeria ahead, which of course the evidence remains the subsidy that is given to power, which is energy, and of course that of petroleum. The petrol subsidy. However, IMF chief had mentioned that 25,000 direct transfer should have been implemented, even though I have major reservation against that direct cash transfer, because the implementation of the same has remained really very worrisome. Number two, the impact of this implementation is also a very, very big challenge in Nigeria. As a result, I think we need to look beyond just implementing 25,000 direct cash transfer into quite a number of costs. It also mentioned that Nigeria oil sector grew, and that the main reason why it grew is because of devaluation. So these and other are the things that were said by the chief of IMF in Nigeria.
So the IMF also predicts, like you said, that the fuel and power subsidies could cost Nigeria up to 3% of its GDP. How significant is this?
Well, it's quite significant because GDP will not be the one to pay. What will pay eventually will be revenue. So on one hand, when we thought we have devalued and we have removed subsidy, and the real subsidy has not gone anywhere. This is IMF confirming that we have not just other subsidy, but there is still elements of petrol subsidy which is being paid. Even though a number of persons felt government has not been able to speak to it. But you realize that IMF boss met with, among other persons, the coordinating minister of the economy, which of course is Minister of Finance, and the central bank governor. So I believe that they must have spoken with those in authority to get the numbers correct. 3% is huge, 3% is humongous. But the question is, between the 3% GDP that will be eroded and hunger that is widespread in the land, poverty and deprivation that is evident amongst the people, we certainly need to make an option.
So we just recently had a monetary policy tightening by the central bank, and the IMF says that it welcomes this. Do you agree with the tightening cycle? What are the ramifications for the economy?
Well, this is where I start to have a divergent opinion with IMF. I agree that it's important for central bank to tighten, but I don't agree that the tightening should be on 400 basis points. The 400 basis point will not be without implication. One is going to have tremendous negative implication on investment, which IMF is already projecting that maybe, although they said they are projecting relatively stronger GDP, but the truth is that Nigeria will most likely have a weaker GDP growth rate in the coming period because of the intention of the Central Bank and Monetary Policy Committee to combat inflation. So, it will crowd out investment, it will crowd out and growth, which I think will not be counterproductive to some of the things we are hoping to achieve. Because when you say there is excess money supply and you want to have this money supply, what has it really impacted? It's impacting on inflation. Growth already is low. The growth that we experience is below population dynamics. So I really don't think that increasing it by as much as 400 basis points was right. Because it's not just CRR that was affected. We also saw what I may want to call an own goal. CRR was also adjusted, not just what do we call it now? Monetary policy rate that was adjusted. CRR was also a major milestone compared with what we had last in September 2022.
Mr. Laje, just one more minute with you. The report told the Nigerian authorities to prioritize food security. You've stated that earlier, but what more can be done to address this in a holistic manner?
Well, in a holistic manner, I've recommended to government, and not just me, the team has recommended to government that we need to now start implementation of national agricultural transformation program. If we don't do that, fortunately, it will be too late. Right now, there is need for subnational to start an aggressive, massive planting of and the ones that are off season, we need to wait till the time it is their season for us to start this program ubiquitously nationwide. Because if we don't, I'm afraid it will just be a time we have spoken that we need food security. The question I need to ask many of our listeners today, and of course those in authority, is that we know, I issued a warning that there will be a famine in Nigeria in 2024, and this famine will be throughout the year, from January to December. But there are some things we could do, which of course I've mentioned, to reduce the impact of this economic action. Unfortunately, I don't know if you are aware, what are the major actions that have been taken of those solutions? One of them, agro-processing and planting, which of course have not seen so much of that, even though I must give this credit of 42,000 metric tons released from reserve. But how much will 42,000 metric tons do? Even though we now hear that those grain have been shared at different levels. The question is, has that reduced the price of commodities, including rice, including maize, including curry, including beans? It has not, because what we require as a nation is 1 million metric tons. Releasing 42,000, we do, but very little or a bit of the major concerns we have around. And the way to get this is that need to go back into massive coordinated planting. Of course, massive planning is not there, and of course, it's a challenge for us now and in the medium term.
All right, Paul Alaje, policy analyst and senior economist at SPM Professionals. We appreciate your time on the show this morning. Do have a great day ahead, sir. Well, I am Army Day for Lawrence Shaw, and that is your business now for today, Wednesday, the 6th of March. Do have a great day ahead, everyone. It's bye for now.
This is 95.3 Business Now.